Steampunk, from subgenre to subculture, presented by Amber Passy. The definition of steampunk is a fantasy genre that's defined by a focus on the style of the industrial era mashed up against futuristic technology. In a retroactive sense, steampunk introduced major story props such as automatons and airships. Steampunk is inspired by the Victorian era and the industrial age of the late 19th century. The term steampunk was coined in 1987. The early 2000s saw an explosion of steampunk in movies, design, fashion, and art, creating an interest in more literature in this genre. One characteristic of steampunk is the elaborate use of gears and movement to make simple things complex, ornate, and interesting. Foundational works of the Victorian era include 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, and even back a bit farther with Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. These works are considered Proto Steampunk because they were written before the term was coined and are foundational to the genre but not part of the genre. K.W. Jeter coined the phrase steampunk when trying to capture the essence of what he and his writing cohort, Tim Powers and James Blaylock, were trying to accomplish with their writing. Now, let's explore what's been published since the 1980s. These are a few of the books I've read, and some I've added to my list after this assignment. Mortal Engines has been mentioned before, and I found this book to embody the purpose of steampunk, to explore a world that advances in technology while still maintaining a Victorian-era social structure. Airborne was the first steampunk novel I read and enjoyed the whole series. Soulless adds an element of comedy to the typically dark and subversive nature of steampunk. Cassandra Clare is an impressive author with appealing works for youth, and this is a book I look forward to reading. My current favorite book is The Aeronaut's Windlass by Jim Butcher, and I'm so excited the second book will be released next month. Several video games have capitalized on the retro-futuristic technology of steampunk, including Dishonored, BioShock Infinite, and, pictured here, The Order 1886. The subculture of steampunk has brought the genre from the page to the present. Author Michael Pryor said, "I love steampunk because it lets me dress up in some sensational clothes, including my top hat and the early 20th century tales I bought in a flea market in Paris." He also described steampunk as the epitome of the creative mashup of bringing history and imagination together, an experience he notes is blissful. These are the resources I used to pull this presentation together. There were also videos embedded in the first source, which were highly enlightening and entertaining about the growth of steampunk. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.